Now that the bottom track is installed, we're going to move on to step 2, and this is installing the jambs. So the jambs themselves do not come pre-drilled. Your bottom track will come pre-drilled, and your top track will come pre-drilled. The bottom track will have screw positions throughout the whole bottom, as well as the top. The jambs do not have any pre-drills, so you will pre-drill them yourself. The way I like to pre-drill my jambs is I would do a foot from the top, a foot from the bottom, and if this was a door system, I would have it direct in the middle. So typically between 3 to 4 screw positions on a door system or a window system as this size, we're going to only pre-drill them probably about 2, being a foot from the bottom and a foot from the top. I've already pre-drilled these screw points. This again with the sliding jamb, and this is the swing door jamb, making sure that you do have the angle gasket on the exterior side. This is a 3-panel left-hand outswing. I am on the inside of the building. You guys would be on the outside of the building. You view your door system from the outside looking in. Left-hand outswing would be this way of a door system. Angle gasket to the exterior side, block gasket to the interior side, sliding jamb. Looks like it doesn't have any gasket, but it is actually a flat gasket on here. Once you've pre-drilled your jambs, we're going to install the jambs. The way I like to install the jambs is we're going to slide the jamb itself onto the jamb connector, making sure the jamb connector is still visible. You do not want to slide your jamb connector inside of the actual jamb itself. It goes into this little pocket here, inside your insert here. Making sure the jamb is locked in nice and tight. We're actually going to push the jamb out of the opening, making sure it's not flush into the opening. It's going to be sticking out a small amount with your pre-drilled hole, placement of the screw. Not too tight, just holding the jamb into position. And they're going to repeat the process on the swing door side. Jamb connector slides into the insert. Angle gasket, exterior side. Making sure that the top of the jamb is outside of the opening. And screw into position. The reason why I like to stick the jamb on the exterior of the position and outside of the opening is so that when I go to put my top track in, I'm able to just put the jamb connectors into the top track itself and then slowly lift the top track into the jambs. Then I'll set my laser level either on the right side, bringing the jamb in, matching the laser level to the point of the track, and then again on the sliding side with the laser level, matching it to the top. So now we're going to put the top track onto the system using our jamb connectors that we took off earlier, taking the jamb connector and slide into the top track. Repeat the process on the sliding door side. Make sure that you have the jamb connector small amount in, again to 2 to 3 inches, and again onto this side. This is our top fix magnet or stop magnet. This will be fixated to the top track. This is our bottom stop guide. This is fixated to the bottom track. This will be screwed in with an Allen bolt, fixed into the system. This will be screwed in with an Allen bolt and a Phillips screw to fix to the system. These do not move. These will be preset in the factory. Once your jambs are screwed into place, we're going to take the top track, making sure that we match. When this spins around, this side will go to the interior side. Making sure the jamb connectors, again, slide into the insert, not into the actual jamb itself, and again, onto the insert. Once the top track is sat on top of the jambs, we're now ready to set the jambs, leveling the bottom track to the top track. Using our laser level that we used earlier, now we're going to use the up and down feature of the laser level turning the laser level on. And we're going to set the laser level to the innards track. So on the actual upstand of the track system, we're going to use this guide point where the guides slide in as a reference. So I'm going to set my laser level, and then I'm going to set my laser point, the dot itself, right on the edge of the inners where the guide slides. This will mirror the top track, so I know that my top track is in level as this, not needing a 6 foot, 3 foot, 2 foot, 8 foot level. I can just use the point laser. So I'm going to temporarily set this side. Bring it in. Temporarily set it. And then we'll come back and redo this once we've brought that side in. As of right now, it'd be a little bit off. Remove the screw, bring the track in, nice to the level. Once you're happy, screw back in. And then we're going to repeat again on this side. What I like to do is I like to take this screw out, place up the top or the middle, set the track. Exactly where I'm happy with it. Now I have a top track in line with my bottom track. Sometimes your door system's going to sit, looks like it's going to be off inside of the opening, but again, this part of the opening, my frame, where this is a movable stand, this is kind of twisted and tilted. When you're installing in a door system or in a house, you might come across the same issues, but you've got to always make sure that your system itself is 100% level. Just because it visually doesn't look level, you can put a 6 foot or a 4 foot on here, and I guarantee this will be 100% level. Gonna double check on the swing door side, and as you can see, right down here, this point and this point matches perfectly. Now we're gonna shim the top track. The reason why I like to set the system individually as a bottom track, then the jambs, and then the top track, because if you were to set this system as a whole unit, you would have to fixate the middle top track, which stops you from sliding the panel or the top track from left to right. So now I can move my top track to mirror my bottom track. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use on the system the pinholes. So where the main door sits on the actual system itself is exactly what I'm going to use. We're going to go directly center lined right down here, and we're going to set the laser level right on the front edge. So it's going to sit right here. That gives me a location point to match it to the top track. If my laser level sits right here and it's exactly the same on the top track, now my pinholes are 100% in line and 100% level. This will be where your main door is going to sit. So this is really important to make sure that this is 100% to match. So as I sit this on the bottom track and I sit this on the top track, this should be %100 mirrored. Once I'm happy, I'm going to use wood shims. Right above the jamb location. You really don't want to make sure you go too tight with this. If you go too tight with the shimming of the top track and you confine it and compress it, what's going to happen is that when you go to put your main door in and you go to put your main door block in to fixate the actual main door to the system, it's not going to level in. So don't compress your shims too tight at this point. Later on, once the main door is in, we can then give these a good tap, making sure that the top track is really firmly tight. This is just a setting point. We're going to have shims above the swing door jamb. We're going to have shims above the opening points. If you were to have a 4-panel system, we'd have a shims between 2 and 3 and 4. So shims here, shims here. Again, a 6-panel system, more shims here. We shim along this line, making sure that we don't compress, because this aluminum will bend and bow. So you've got to make sure that you just, a small amount of pressure. No shims all the way across the top track. And then we apply shims again on the sliding side jamb. You're also going to want to make sure you have shims on the top track sides, making sure that that top track does not go left to right. Once I'm happy with that location, we'll run down the line. Again, not too much pressure. We'll remove the laser level. And repeat the process. So how I'm setting this top track to the bottom track on the sliding door side, again using the guide position on the edge of the track, setting my laser level right on the edge, front side, and then I'm going to match it to the front side on this side. Sometimes you're going to have more of a gap on one side than you are going to have on the other. Again, this is going to be what your opening is. This is a movable frame. This is really out of level. So I have way more of a gap on this side than I do on this side. That's why we recommend setting the bottom track halfway and halfway, or if your door system or your opening is really out of level, then you would have to fur this in. But this is the reason why we ask for 1 inch. Again, this will all be covered up with the trim work. Once you're happy with the screw locations and the shims, we're just going to screw up. Setting one side. Setting the other side.